II and Korean War officer, and my paternal grandfather, who was an infantry officer in World War I. After graduation, I went to Fort Riley, Kansas, the home of the recently activated 9th Infantry Division, to join and train my infantry rifle platoon. I spent a mere 4 months at Fort Riley, located on the plains of central Kansas. We worked on the basics: weapons and tactical formations and movement. We had only 1 day of helicopter training. Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 60th Infantry, 9th Division, departed from Fort Riley for Vietnam right before Thanksgiving in 1966. Shortly before Christmas, on December 19th, we arrived at Vung Tau, South Vietnam. I had 17 months' experience in the military, 12 months in actual training, basic AIT light weapons and infantry OCS, and only 5 months as an officer. One of these 5 months was spent on board a ship. I had just turned 23. The 9th was assigned to the Mekong Delta and the surrounding rice paddy area in southeastern Vietnam. The land was flat and barely above sea level. Any land not used for rice crops or rubber plantations was covered with dense undergrowth. Some of the bamboo in jungle thickets was as hard as steel and had leaves like razors. Adjacent to the rivers, which dominated the alluvial plain geography, were muddy swamps choked with reeds and grass or mangrove palm trees, even in the dry season. Navigating through these jungles and swamps was a difficult and sometimes hopeless task. Just traversing the countryside could be almost as dangerous as facing the enemy. Many of our operations covered large areas of hostile terrain, uninhabited except for a Viet Cong VC base camp. Charlie Company's initial in-country operations were relatively safe security patrols around Long Bin and Bearcat, but it was here that I came into contact with the silent deadly killer Agent Orange, the dioxin-tainted defoliant used in Vietnam. The terrain around Long Bin was eerie. Agent Orange had killed all the vegetation, leaving the normally lush green jungle foliage a lifeless brown and gray. The feeling of death's presence surrounded us. The sounds of life from the jungle birds, insects, and animals were noticeably absent. Each soldier's step produced a crunching sound from the dried, dead vegetation on the ground. In the jungles, we often used iodine tablets to kill bacteria in the water from the streams. Sometimes we had no choice but to drink this water to stay alive. Often the water was poisoned by Agent Orange. After a month, we moved to the notoriously treacherous, insect-infested Rung Sat Special Zone, south of Vung Tau, a little north of the Mekong River, and inland from the South China Sea. We lived on the USS Benawa, an air-conditioned naval barrack ship, and were transported each day from the ship into the massive swamp on armored troop carriers. On the daily amphibious operation into the swampland, we looked for a VC base camp, which we never found. But we did find 110-degree-plus heat, unbelievable humidity, strong tidal currents, mud 2 to 3 feet deep, no water resupply, and voracious red fire ants everywhere in the foliage. Later, we moved on to the rice paddies in Long An Province around Tan Tru, a small village south of Saigon, west of the Rung Sat and South China Sea, east of the Plain of Reeds, just northwest of the Mekong Delta. For years, this area had been an uncontested supply route for movement of enemy equipment between the primeval Rung Sat and the Plain of Reeds. Enemy guerrillas historically collected heavy rice taxes from the peasant population here. This Long An Province area, sometimes called the Southern Front, was completely dominated by the Viet Cong and had been virtually cut off from South Vietnamese government control. The life of the American soldier in this hostile environment was arduous. Every time leaders selected an easy route over rough terrain, they made their platoon vulnerable to a VC ambush. The VC